Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. And the journey continues today, March 29th, 2021, at roughly 5:25 a.m. PST. We have talked about a lot of things. Now, first thing, let's just go back one step. Have you figured out whether or not you're content with your life? Okay, if the answer is yes, then absolutely we are tickled pink for you. Absolutely pleased. The unfortunate reality of most people is that they are not content with their own life. They spend, myself included, I spent the better portion of my life, and let's face it, up until about 3 months ago, really, I have been trying to find something, some way to fit in. Now, where are we here? I guess it'd be about 7 months ago. I had a conversation that got me on a path that was very, very specific for me. What it boiled down to was this. There were a number of things that were expected of me, most of which got thrown out the window. Okay, because here's the thing. People can expect what they will of you. Okay, that's everybody's right. But we all have one irrefutable quality in. Okay, we stumbled over that badly. We have one irrefutable quality that draws us all together. When I'm talking about all of us, I mean the people, the humans, non-humans, and when I'm talking non-humans, we go way beyond what most think. Plants, animals, crystals, they all have they all have one thing in common that bonds all of them together. Okay, and that is their freedom of choice. Now, I know that may sound a little strange, but you all have absolute control over what you personally do, what you personally think. People can expect what they will, but you have free will. You have the freedom to do what you choose. The one thing to keep in mind with that is karmic law applies to everything across the board. Therefore, be true to yourself, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now, when I talk about people can expect what they will of you, things were expected of me that I was never asked about. It was just that's what we expect. Well, if communication has failed, okay, in other words, if there is not equal two-way communication, you're not going to be on the same page. Now, the conversation I had was very simple. I was told this is what was expected, and I'm not going to go into the details of what was expected, because as I told the individuals involved, you can expect what you will, but you gave us freedom of choice. You gave us free will. Yes, we have to take responsibility for our own actions. Whatever you put out comes back. Now, understand, for me, that boiled down to this. I went, this is the path that you expect. It's not really relevant because you're able to expect what you will. Now, I was asked by a number of my followers to put out more information. Hence, I started working at this. Now, here's the thing. People say the hardest step like many people seem to think that the hardest step to take in any journey is the first one. I came to realize that's actually not quite accurate. The first one is very difficult, but it's not the hardest. Because think of it when a child starts to walk. They struggle their way to their feet, often with help. Okay, they get stood up, they get their balance, and they take that first tentative step. Then they're a little off balance. Well, the second one is almost forced. Because as they start to lose balance, that foot will come off and they'll try and catch the balance again. Okay, so that second step is almost a byproduct of the first one. The third one is the hard one. That's the one when you decide, now I've got my balance again. Am I going to sit down and just not do anything, which is unfortunately what most people seem to do? Or am I going to take that third step? Once you take that third step, now you've committed to a new path. Now you've committed to taking responsibility way beyond what you had been doing. You were taking responsibility for standing up in the first place. Well, I was asked by a number of people, quite frankly, for a number of years, to put information out. Okay, and the conversation I had kind of corroborated that. Because the people involved, I turned around and said, okay, you desired to talk, so I'm here. They told me what they expected, and I looked at them and went, well, yeah, okay, I understand that's what you expect. Unfortunately, in your case, you also gave us freedom of choice, free will. So, here's the deal. I will take care of what is mine. Absolutely. I was directly responsible for them being here. Okay, and whatever led to it, that's beside the point. They're here now. I will take care of them. As for the rest of what you expect, well, here's what I desire in return. And I'm not going to go into what I asked for in return. Suffice it to say, I got what I requested. So, we made an agreement. A conscious, adult, mature agreement. Couple that with the number of time of people that asked me over the years to put information out, and here we are. So it comes out in 4 different venues. Okay, we'll just start with the platform, which is success. Okay, that's what virtually everybody aims for. Okay, I don't know of a single person. Well, I know of one that was kind of a weird setup, but I know of very few people that actually look at something and go, I'm doing this in order to experience failure. Very few people actually do that. Now, that's for them, but what I'm looking at is success. Now, I was told a long time ago that if you're going to do something successful, if you're going to be successful at it, talk to somebody that has done it successfully. Okay, talk to somebody that has done it. And translation, if your idea of success is to become a multimillionaire, do not talk to your parents about it unless your parents are multimillionaires. If they have become multimillionaires and that's what you desire to be, then absolutely talk to them. If you desire to be a cobbler, don't talk to your parents about how to be cobblers unless they are cobblers. Okay, now don't get me wrong, talk to your parents, absolutely. But through them, find the connections, through them and other people, find the connections to talk to that millionaire to find out how they got where they are. Talk to that cobbler to find out how he does what he does. Now remember, doesn't matter how you got to where you are, you're there now. Doesn't matter how long it took you to get you there, you're there now. So for me, it was real simple. I made an agreement, and I must say thank you so much to my followers, so much to all of you. And when I talk about followers, I don't mean people to line up behind me and go, oh, you're so special. No, I'm talking about the people that may never have even talked to me before, and yet are watching this video or are talking to somebody that has seen a video or talked to me. Those people are still followers. Okay, they're still following, they're still hearing what I've had to say. And in contrast to that, their input has gotten back to me one way or another. Okay, Now, people talk about the 6 degrees of separation, meaning between you and anybody. Okay, there seems to be the basic, and I can't verify this. Okay, but it seems that between anybody on the planet, for instance, between you and, for instance, the monarch or the president of a foreign country, okay, there's only 6 people between you. You know somebody, they know somebody, and 6 people down the road, you're connected to that other person. So I took all of this into consideration and went, okay, how do we do this? Well, one thing came out very clear. We have success. We have the platform of success. How do we get there? Now, I've talked about karmic law, which applies to the whole 9 yards. Okay? Be true to yourself. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. So, that's the first step that we look at. Okay, then we have the legs. We have the spirituality, which is whether it's a church, a group you gather with, whether it happens to be, just yourself out communing with nature. Doesn't matter. You've got business, and you've got your personal life, as in what you do in your spare time. Okay. Now, the fourth part of that, of course, is you got to remember you have to sleep at some point. One of these days I will get organized. Okay, I'm working on it. But that's the platform we're standing on. Now, to be clear, when I decided I was going to go down this road, okay, I ended up having to look at a whole lot of things. So we got the spiritual side of things, and in my series of videos, I've got the spiritual side of things, I've got business, and I also deal with the off-worlders, with ancient races, with technologies beyond human ken. In other words, things that go way beyond the norm. Okay, some people now, in order to accommodate that, I've been questioned a lot on various aspects, not the least of which is I'm a published author in 5 different genres. Okay, science fiction, science fantasy, depending on who you talk to, reference, self-help, poetry, and of course, no, wait a minute, let's try that again. Science fiction and science fantasy, poetry, self-help, reference. I'm still missing one. I am not happy with me. I give up for a moment. I'll probably figure it out before the end of the day. Which does not make me happy. What I'm doing here is just working it out while I'm talking to you here. Because quite frankly, I don't do one thing at a time. I never have. Okay, but in any event, sorry, dead silence there. That was a bad thing. And okay, maybe I should put it this way. Number one, these are live videos, meaning I don't go back and alter, I don't go back and correct them, I don't go back and edit anything. What you see is what you get. Okay, now that said, when we're dealing with this, okay, I'd love to say I was perfect, and I can say I am perfect. It's wrong. In this case, it's actually, if I were actually saying that with the intent of you actually believing it, frankly, it would be classified as lying. At least in my eyes. The reality is, I'm not perfect. Okay, I'm not about to correct this and correct what I just did there. Okay, but I've started laying things out, getting rid of a bunch of junk that I don't require. And this is where you come in. Okay, it was asked that I put a lot of information out. So, I've got the spiritual side, the alien technology, alien races, business, okay, and spirit, and the success level. Now, the success level is on what you personally desire, what you give your word to, and this is the critical factor. If you give your word to something, it's the only thing on the planet that you have that cannot be taken. Okay, it cannot be taken from you. You yourself are the only one on the planet, regardless of what your station in life, regardless of where you come from, or who you're related to, or who you believe in. Doesn't matter. You are the only one that can give your word. That's it. It cannot be taken from you. It can be coerced. Somebody can threaten you and force you to give your word. Which, by the way, in legal terms, they call that, as far as I recall, they call that giving your word under duress, or doing something under duress, meaning you're forced to. Well, if giving your word is forced, then frankly, if that is the case, then it's not your word you're giving. Okay, you're being forced to do something. Now, your word is the one thing that is of any functional value. The clothing I'm wearing, it can be replaced. Okay, any photographs I've got can be replaced. Any of this stuff can be replaced. Your word is the only thing that cannot be replaced. Once you break your word, that trust that goes with it. My father used to say my corporeal father used to say very clearly, it takes years, sometimes decades, to build trust. It takes a heartbeat to destroy it. Okay. Now, I love the way that things go in some ways. People are consistent. They've been the same way for thousands of years. You'd think they would have figured it out, but unfortunately they haven't. So the question you have to ask yourself is this. If you desire your life to change, since you're the only one that can change it, you're the only one that can be successful. Okay, I cannot do anything for you. I can turn the light on. I can say, here's where you're having hiccups. And quite frankly, for the last, what is it now, almost 48 years, I have been literally working in that field, pointing out where people are making miscalculations. Now, I've been told, if your life's in order, you can't point people in the right direction. Well, if your life is not in order, you cannot point people in the right direction for them. Well, that is categorically wrong. Okay. Because the most messed up person on the planet may see something you don't. And that's just the reality behind it. Don't mind me. Sneeze wanted to happen and it hasn't yet. Just going to pause this for half a second. Okay, we are back. Now, the only person on the planet that can do anything for you is you. I can absolutely turn the lights on. I've been asked to do so for years. And it's only been the last 6 months that I really started getting focused. In the last 3 months, I've made phenomenal breakthroughs, in my opinion, on getting my life in order, which is why today I am debt-free. Okay. So I can absolutely point people in the way to do that. And here's a couple of keys, totally free of charge. I don't charge for this because, well, frankly, I don't charge for any of my videos for obvious reasons. But over on that wall, I have a sign that says 4 words. I am worth it. A constant reminder that my efforts for me are valuable, which is something I honestly did not believe when I was younger. Okay, but I am worth it. Write it down on a sheet of paper. Put it on your fridge door. Okay, and the reason for the fridge is because no matter what house you go into, it seems that whether there's anything written on the fridge or not, it's the one appliance that everybody seems to look at. even if all they look at is the emblem on the fridge. People don't tend to necessarily pay much attention to the stove, the sink, anything. But they do seem to look at the fridge a lot. That's where parents put everything from their kids. They just kind of glue it up there so you can see it. Those 4 words are critical in getting your head on straight. At least that's what I found. Second thing I did was there's a sign up on this wall that literally says we have legally attained a minimum of $2,000 by March 31st, 2021 at 1 minute to midnight. Okay, now the reality is that sign sits there. Now I've already reached that goal. The $2,000 I mentioned is strictly what I require to run my whole household. And on the wall back here, you'll see a business license. Now, you certainly cannot read that unless you've got a much better computer than I've got, which would not be hard. Okay, just take my word for it. That business license is there. Now, back in 2015, at roughly 5 minutes to noon, okay, on August 15th, I decided I was running this particular business. Okay, Inner Voice Enterprises. Okay, I've been running it ever since. Now, it's been suggested that I close it down because I really didn't do a lot with it. At this point, I'm starting to. But that license to me says I'm following the law. I'm running a business. Yes, there are ways I could get around it. I don't have to have a business license. I could just do it the easy way and just make money and not report it. Problem: you must follow the laws of the land in which you are. Now, for me, that license says I'm doing things properly. Okay, it's helping me stay balanced as an obvious, blatant issue. Okay, if I'm going to tell you to follow the law, or more to the point, if I'm going to suggest you follow the law, I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what I do. Okay, I can suggest to you what you should do, but I will tell you, not following the laws of the land, whether you agree with them or not, doesn't work well. Okay, now because of the way the tax laws work and what have you in Canada, okay, I have to, okay, we'll try one thought at a time. For me to be successful, okay, and following those laws, I can claim, according to what my accountants have told me, the people legally lined up to do this, I can claim 10% of my income, 10% of my household towards my business. Therefore, by extrapolation, my business has to be generating 10% of my monthly required income. While at $2,000, that would make $200. And again, I attained success this month. My company has generated over $200. Now, that may not sound like much to you, and it doesn't sound like much to me, but I will tell you this. It means I had 2 financial goals for this month. I've attained both of them. That's what's called success. Okay, you set a goal for yourself, which is where these come in. Okay, I always start off, now I tell people, the tool I was given was take a sheet of paper, write down 3 goals. Okay, that's it, just 3, starting wherever you're standing, right wherever you are right now. Grab a sheet of paper, write down 3 things that you can think of right off the top of your head that you require doing. Now, of course, when I put this together this morning, I started by listing off breakfast. Dealt with it. Okay, I also put down that I was going to clear off my computer desk, so I could function. Dealt with it. This is the 3rd thing that was on my list. Now, the reality is I start with 12 because I very seldom do one thing at a time. But the only thing I usually do at a time is I usually sleep, and that's all I do. But even that is seldom the case. For instance, I woke up this morning. Woke up this morning knowing there were some complications. I'd already laid out a few things that had to be done before I even woke up. Okay, so a lot of the time when we talk about sleeping, I don't just sleep. Apparently, I gave up sleeping decades ago because I just don't do it very much. I do it, and like most people, I sleep normally. I lay down most of the time. But you put the list together. Now, I recommend very strongly that your list, that the tasks you put out for yourself are limited to 15 minutes to half an hour, if at all possible. Now, sometimes you can't do that. Okay, for one of the obvious issues is if you're trying to build a house, it becomes rather complicated trying to do that. Okay, and done in 15-minute to half hour markers. Okay, now I'm going to have to, because I know I was supposed to do something else with today, so I'm going to have to look back over yesterday's video to see what it was I said I was going to do, because obviously I seem to have forgotten something. But that being said, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, okay, so you can get the rest of the videos as they come up, because we are fortunately, we committed to something back on March 6th of this year. It took us that long to get there. Okay, I've been asked for years to get onto a regular basis. Well, starting March 6th of 2021, I started doing a daily video that I've titled The Journey. Okay, go back and look at the other ones before. Yes, I repeat myself on a number of occasions. I'm not perfect, but I find that repeating things quite often get things moving in the right direction for me. I suspect very strongly, since it's worked for a lot of people that I've pointed in that direction over the decades, I suspect it'll work for you as well. Okay, so do subscribe. At the bottom of the channel, at the bottom of the video, you'll find a list of different publications I already have in print that can be ordered, can be picked up from me. Okay, there's a list of contact points, aka emails, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all listed at the bottom of this video. Absolutely drop me a line. I will be more than happy to try to respond to you as quickly as I can. If it's a common topic that you're asking about, I will still undoubtedly respond to you. Okay, but then I will turn around and do another video on that. Okay, again, thank you so much for your support. And we are going to bring this to a close here. So, until tomorrow, take care, and way beyond that, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.